Welcome to this video where I'm going to be using 2D design to make a set square and a protractor and possibly combine them together at the end like we have in this kind of set square protractor object. I'm going to be using 2D design on my extended desktop, which means that if I start to hold down some of the menu options on these toolbars, it scrolls off the video area onto my extended desktop. So I'm going to be moving this over to the side here, which might be a bit confusing. In fact, I think I'm going to put it right there. And if you noticed how kind of like all these little screen anomalies have appeared, let's go to the redraw, that windscreen wiper in the top right there, just to make sure I've got a nice clear screen to begin with. There's a few things I've done here, just going to run through them very fast. I've gone onto grid lock, I've right clicked there, I've made sure I've got a 5mm grid with lines in pale blue. I just like this setup. It looks so nice, it makes my life easy, and when we're laser cutting things I can position things more easily as well, so for me it's really helpful. And I've also as well already created a like a set of ruler markings here. This is from a previous video that I've done, and I've got that so I don't have to remake it again. So please go to the previous video where I made a ruler if you want to see how I did that super fast and super easy. Okay, so first of all I'm going to look at this idea of making a set square, and I want to have a set square which is basically going to have I'm just going to duplicate this, Control C, Control V, which basically is going to have, you know, like, is that correct there? Yes, like 0 to 10 centimeters like this along one of its vertical or horizontal edges. So to do that, let's just come to a square tool here. I'm always working with grid lock at the moment, so everything snaps beautifully, makes my life so super easy. And if I imagine that I want to have this as a square, then obviously I could just do a square here, which is going to be, if I'm looking down here at the relative grid references where my mouse is currently hovering, when I go back onto the drawing area, you can see I want to take that to 100mm in the relative X value, and in this case it's minus 100 in the relative Y, because the origin is the bottom left of my drawing area. So let's click there, and that is going to be a square with 10 centimeters or 100mm on each equal side. But I want to make sure that actually I'm going to have like a little margin, a 5mm margin here before the 0 marking and after the 10 centimeter marking. So what I really want to do here is actually make a new square, and this is going to start 5mm before my ruler markings and finish 5mm after my ruler markings. So it's actually going to be 110 in the X and 110 in the Y. So I'm going to draw that in there, and that in this case is going to be the outline I'm going to use for my set square. It's not a set square, it's a square, but you'll see. Let's come to the delete any tool. Let's just trim back that initial square that I drew. Now how am I going to make this into a set square? Well, I'm going to get a straight line here, and I'm simply going to take it straight across. And there you go, now I've got a set square. How can I make this? In fact, it's not quite, I've still got a square there, haven't I? So let's actually come to the delete part tool. And I'm going to click and delete these lines where they intersect with other joins. So that's going to give me my set square. If I zoom in on this, there's a few interesting things to notice here. The zero's going slightly off there, where when I laser cut this, it's literally just going to sort of, it'll cut that off. But maybe what I want to do in this particular case is just position this. In fact, so I've got all my numbers here actually to the left of this centimeter marking. So maybe what I want to do here is go to step lock. Maybe if I can just drag those a bit to the right, could I do something like that? Yeah, that works for me. Maybe I can do the same thing with my 10 centimeter marking. I could just tweak it a bit, couldn't I? But I'm quite happy with that, so I'm going to go ahead and stop there. Okay, what happens if I wanted to put my marking on this side down this edge? Well, let's have a see what I can do. If I select this this set square in its current format, if I start to rotate this, yeah, things start to get really messy. But if I turn on the radial lock, which is this button on the right hand side, which has got these 3 arrows sticking out, then it's going to lock it to 45 degrees. And I know that because if I right click on this button, I can see here it says radial lock on, step angle 45. So now with the radial lock turned on, if I click on this little rotation tool, click move, you see how it locks there to 45 degrees, 90 degrees, and now I've got this edge to work to right here. Well, you know what I'm going to do to make my life easy? I'm going to take that, I'm going to copy, Control C, paste, Control V, I've got radial lock turned on here. Is that going to be a problem? It looks like it's not, because look, it's still snapping onto the grid there. That is still definitely, yeah, on the grid. Okay, so let's take this set square again. Let's rotate it again. 1, 2, that's 90 degrees. Pick this up again, turn off radial lock at this point, drag it in, and then there I've got my markings along this top edge. Now here the 10 doesn't work, so I think in my example here I'm just going to delete the 10 and be done with it. So there's my set square so far with these markings along the adjacent and opposite, I suppose you could call it, if I was talking about this angle down here, the opposite and adjacent sides. Now what I want to do is work on the hypotenuse. Now to do that, I'm going to have to rotate the whole thing again, because, you know, I can just use exactly the same ruler down up here. I'm going to take this, I'm going to come to a radial lock, and now I'm going to rotate it round. Now I want to rotate this round, let me see here, 45, 90, 135, isn't it? Yes, it is. Let's do it. 45, 90, 135, and then I've got this top edge, and that rather nicely is right on the grid as well. And to make sure that is the case, let's just zoom in here right on this corner. You know what, it's ever so slightly off there. So I'm going to show you another way of doing that. Let's just zoom back to the last view. Let's undo that last process, and I'm going to show you how to rotate this so it is absolutely perfect. I'm going to select this. I think at this point I'm going to group it together so I don't lose things. Edit group or Control G. Now I can just click on any part of it and it selects it without having to do a bounding box on the outside. Okay, with it selected, I'm going to come to the transform tool here, and I'm going to choose from this list of transformations the rotate the selected objects. The text has gone off the screen there, but it says rotate the selected objects. Okay, I'm going to rotate this to that 135 degrees that I was just looking. This is always anti-clockwise. I want to replace the original image here, and here's the magic. Oh, I've still got radial lock turned on. Turn that off. I'm going to click with grid lock turned on right on this corner here, which means that it will rotate it from that point. And now if I zoom in on this corner and have a look, that line, that top hypotenuse is exactly on the grid, and this corner is exactly on the grid, and that is fantastic. Okay, let's come back to the last view here. I'm going to come across, let's just pick this up, grid locks on, I'm going to pull it back in again, and that looks pretty amazing. Now interestingly here, it does mean that that corner there is slightly off. Yeah, if I'd rotated it with radial lock, it would have meant that this would have been kind of square on the page. In other words, you know, both corners here would have been kind of equidistant off the grid. But I'm gonna run with this. Okay. Now what am I doing? Leave that where it is. Redraw, scroll up. Okay. Now then, let's have a see. I'm going to take this centimeter marking here, and I'm probably, how much of this am I going to take? I can kind of work it out, can't I? I can pick this up. I've got grid lock still turned on. I can pull it into here. Let's have a see, how far can I go? Can I go to 15? Can I go to 15? Let's just pull this back here. In fact, look, before I do anything else, let's make a duplicate of it. Okay, now I can hack into this, and I've got my original still available, so if I need to pull it back, I can do. Let's pull that in. Let's delete all the way back to 15 centimeters. Now, can I pick this up and can I drop this into here? Now, look, it's actually going off the grid a little bit here. Well, it's still on the grid, but it's messing up a little bit. So I'm thinking here that what I'm going to do is come to step lock. I'm going to right click on step lock, and I'm going to put, I've got 0.5 there, my Y, for my step spacing. Anyway, I'm going to put this at 2.5 millimeters, which is going to be, of course, half the 5 of the grid. And let's see now, with step lock turned on, if I can pull this in and kind of drop it. How does that look? How does, a bit more to the left, how does that look? It's getting a bit messy, isn't it? I don't know. Do I run with it? I'll run with it. For this, I'll run with it. There you go. But it is getting a bit nuts, really. Okay. You know what? I'm going to take it back to 14. Let's keep things simple. Let's pick that back up again. Let's pull that in. How does that look? I don't know. I'm just wasting time in the video now. That'll do. I'm just going to stop there. Done. And that's a real mess on the end there. I'm a bit worried about that 14 sticking over, because when I come to do my contour around the outside, when I come to my contour tool here and I want to do a zero space contour in blue in order to do the cutout for my set square for laser cutting, look what happens, it goes around the 14. So if I just pick up this contour and move it a little bit to the side so you can see what happens, here we go, and look, there's the 14 just sticking out. So yeah, what I'm going to have to do here, it probably is just select that 14 and press the delete key on the keyboard and get rid of it. So yeah, not perfect, but you know what, well, we'll keep going. Let's do the protractor, because that's enough set squaring. Let's look at the protractor. Now, for the protractor, and there's another issue here in terms of it aligning with everything. So the fact that this is not in the middle of the grid. Look, if I come to my step block here and I draw a line up there, okay, that line, look, is actually slightly off the tip of the set square. Okay, well, there's ways we can fix that, but I'm not going to worry about it now. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to do a protractor, and I'm going to do the protractor inside the set square, which you don't have to do. I am, because you know what, I think that looks pretty cool. So let's have a look. I'm going to get some construction lines. Let's go onto a line tool here. Let's come onto here. I'm going to get a grey line. Let's do some grey lines. I want to have again the 2.5mm step lock settings, because that's going to allow me to do a line straight up there like that. And I'm going to have a line coming straight across here like this, and what I'm wanting to do here is find a point from which I can start to draw out this semicircle, which is going to give me the framework for my protractor. So here we go. Let's come to the circles tool. Now I'm going to come, no, I'll work with step lock. Now we're going to come to this point here. I'm going to drag my circle out. Now notice here that as I drag my circle out, I want to keep this cursor on the grey construction line going vertically down, because that's going to give me a nice sized semicircle. If I go off the circle, just have a look at this distance here. This distance effectively is the radius of the circle, and as long as I've got the cursor on that vertical construction line, I've got a distance, I've got a radius that is basically a factor of a half. Of 2.5mm, sorry. So here it's 35, next it's going to be 37.5, then it's going to be 40, then 42.5. If I go to the right or left off this vertical construction line, suddenly now I'm going to go to 42.57 or 42.79. Now, okay, you know what, if this was a paint package, who cares? But this is computer-aided design, it's engineering. I want this to be machined absolutely to perfection. So that's important. How far do I go here? I don't know. I'm going to stop at 40. There you go. I'm going to click there. Wonderful. Let's see what I'm going to do next. Now, actually at this point, all these lines here along the top are causing me some problems. So what I'm going to do at this point is I'm actually going to take these construction lines and this circle, and I'm going to put on gridlock, and let's just drag them off. Okay, I'm going to drag them off, because now what I can do is come to the delete part tool, and I can trim back that top of the circle. I can trim that back there, trim that back there. What else am I going to do? Let's trim this back and that back, and I might just leave that line because it's useful to know where the center of the circle is. Let's pick this back up again. I've still got gridlock turned on, and talking about engineering, this is what I love in terms of CAD. Look, I can snap that back in again, and it's absolutely where I wanted it prior to moving it. Am I happy with that positioning? Do I take it up? No, that's the one. I'm happy with that. Okay, good. Right, let's now put on the protractor points. So to do this, let's have a look. I'm going to come to a line tool. I'm going to come to red. There's my red line. And I'm going to put, okay, we need to go to step lock, and now I do need to go back to 1mm spacings, because what I want to do, in fact, look, it's not actually snapping on there now. Okay, so what I actually want to do here is go with, let's go 1.25. Oh, that's going to be super cool, because that's like a quarter of 5. That's a cool idea. I'm liking that. Now that means that now I can do, what's that? That's going to be 1.25, 2.5, 3.75. I'm liking the look of that. Let's do a 3.75mm red line. Okay, absolutely awesome. I'm going to select this, and I want this to basically be, let's come over here, I want this to be like the 10 millimeter markings, yeah? I'm kind of bouncing around here, look, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, like that, okay? So let's therefore go to my rotate selected objects tool, and I'm going to have that rotated to an angle of 10 degrees, and it rotates it anti-clockwise. And I want to repeat this, and I'm going to repeat this. I'll do it for you this time, but I want to go from 0 to 180 degrees. I've already got 0, so I want to do 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, all the way to 180. That is 18 repeats, and I've already got 18 in here. So let's click on OK there. And now I'm going to click, I've got to be careful here, I've still got step lock turned on. I'm going to click right on the center of that semicircle, and there I've got all of my red 10 degree markings in place. Okay, let's now do a 5 degree marking. Now to do this, I'm going to keep it in red. It gets a bit tricky here because I'm going to be drawing lines over lines, and this can get really messy, so you might want to change the color here, but then it becomes messy in terms of moving things around. In fact, you know what, right at this point, what I'm definitely going to do, I'm definitely going to move this back off the drawing area. And the reason for this, and to do that, by the way, click, shift, click, shift, click, shift, click. This is going to allow me to pick things up and drag things around and just manage this more easily, rather than having it all on here and kind of selecting accidentally all these other millimeter and centimeter markings. So here we go. Look, there's my little shape again. My little indicator, sorry. Let's do the same 10 degree rotation, 18 repeats around that center point. Back to step lock to do that. Okay, good. Let's change the color, because otherwise it's going to be mad. I'm going to put this to, I don't know, orange, no, green. Let's do green, hooray. Okay, hooray for green. Let's do a line here. I'm going to make this a bit shorter because this is going to be my 5 degree marking. So this is going to be 2.5 millimeters in length, and I can see the green line over the top of the red there. Let's make sure I select that green line. Good. Let's come back to the transformation tool, and I just want to move this through 5 degrees just once, because I want this, and let's make sure I indicate the center of rotation, because I want this to then be repeated 10 to 10, 10. So it goes from 5 to 15 to 25 to 35 to 45, 55, all the way to 75. Okay, let's select it. Let's come to the transformation tool. So now I want to make this move 10 degrees at a time. I'm going to repeat this, and now I'm starting at 5 and I want to go to 75. So this is going to be another 17 repeats, and I'm going to click on the center there, and look, there's all my markings for my 5 degrees. Now it looks like a Christmas decoration. I actually want to have all these in red so that they engrave. So let's just select all those lines. I'm making sure I don't select the grey semicircle. Let's select all those lines. Let's come to color, red here, and now look, that's going to engrave on the laser cutter with the settings that we have here in this school. Right, let's now do the millimeter markings. So I'm going to come to line tool again. I'm still going to work with green so I can differentiate it from the other markings. Let's just do a tiny little mark there. That's just, I think, 1.25 millimeters long. Let's select that. Now this is more tricky. I want to move this in 1 degree. I'm just going to rush through this now. Then I want to take this, and I want it actually to be degrees 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I need to add on 2, 3, and 4, and each one is going to be, so 2, 3, and 4 is 3 repeats. So I've gone from 1 degree to 2 to 3 to 4, which is 1 degree increments 3 times. Good, there we go. So that's got my lines there. I'm just going to zoom in a bit here so I can see more clearly what's going on. Okay, that's annoying. Let's just redraw here. Okay, so now selection tool, let's just select those lines, and now I want to right click on the rotation tool again. Now I want to rotate this through 5 degrees because I want the 1 degree to go to 6, or the 2 degree to go to 7, the 3 to 8, and the 4 to 9. And therefore I want to repeat it, and I want it to be repeated how many times? So let me see, I want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and then all the rest. Well, you know what? I'm just going to do 17 times, and it's for you to work out how many times I should repeat it to go all the way to 179 degrees. Think about it, it's not straight. It's not obvious straight away. Let's just click on OK there. Let's just draw those in, and look, there we are. That's got all my millimeter marks, my degree markings all the way to 90 degrees. So again, I'm going to select all of those. I'm going to make them all red so that our laser cutter will engrave them all perfectly. Right, that's looking absolutely awesome. The last thing I need to do here, and I'm at 20 minutes, oh my goodness, this is an epic video. The last thing I'm going to do is put in the numbers. So let me see what I'm going to do here. I've got some numbers here already, haven't I? Do I steal these? I think I do. I'm going to steal one of these. I'm going to steal that one there. So Control C, Control V to copy it and paste it. I'm going to bring that down. I'm going to pop it right, where do I pop it? Right there. I'm going to rotate this, so I'm going to turn on radial lock. I'm going to drag this around so it looks like that. Am I happy? Yeah, that looks pretty awesome. I hope it's not too big. Is that going to be too big? Yeah, let's scale it down a little bit. Let's scale it down. If I right click, I can scale it down without distorting the size of the number. I'm liking that, that's good. And then this is something that I've discovered very recently, which is quite handy when you're doing things like this. I'm going to go to properties on this, and I'm going to make this 444. Why 444? I don't know, just 444 because it's number 4. But it's quite handy because, yeah, the 4 is a nice number to sort of find the center for, I suppose. There we go, 444. I'm happy with that. Zoom out a bit so I can get a sense of scale. Yeah. Okay, right, I'm going to make it a bit smaller. Yeah. Okay, that'll do. Will it, won't it? Oh, I'm just getting silly now, just wasting time. That'll do. You know, to get this actually perfect, let's come to step lock again here. And this is why I probably put it to 0.5 before. Let's, about 0.5. Let's put that to 0.5 millimeters. Let's zoom in. And let's actually pixel peep this. And let's actually get this right. Is that right still? Oh, you know, knock yourself out. Let's move on. Okay, let's get to the real nitty-gritty here. I make these numbers go around. So let's take it. Let's come to the transformation tool. I want to have these every 10 degrees. So let's make this 10. I want to have a total of 18 repeats because this technically will be 0, not 444. And I'm going to click on that middle point. I might just go back to grid lock here to make sure that that does snap. And of course it doesn't because it's off the grid, isn't it? I'm going to have to click on there very carefully with my step lock tool. That's all the numbers. So why did I change it to 444? Well, now what I can do is I can make this obviously 0, but I'm going to make it space 0. And what that should mean is that that 0 is right in the correct place. Now I'm going to come to here. Now this should be 10. So I'm going to try space 10. And then, whoop, I don't want 0, 10. I want space 10. Space 10. Right, thank you. Now, is that quite right? Maybe I get rid of the space. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Okay, let's do this one here. So this is going to be 20. Let's just see if that works without the space. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Okay, I'll just do 30, and then I think I'm going to jump to... Okay, let's jump to 90, see how 90 looks. Now, that 90 there, do I put a space in? I think I might. Space 90, let's see how that looks. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Let's just try 100. Okay, so it's not exactly perfect there on the 100, and let's just do 180. It's not absolutely spot on. Maybe I feel as if my positioning of the initial number wasn't quite perfect, and I will just go back and just modify that when necessary. But that's looking pretty cool, I have to say. Right, so let's bring this back in again. Let's just pick this up. Now at this point, you know, what am I going to do with these grey lines? Do I keep the grey lines? I don't have to, you know, if I wanted to. Let's just take this. Let's come to grid lock. Copy and paste it. Let's put it over here. Okay, I can delete the grey lines. I've copied and pasted it, by the way, so I've always got this original in case I change my mind. So that's, I think, is a really good idea. I can get rid of that line as well, so I'm just left like this. Or you know what? I might select that line and I might make that line red because I kind of like that. That's looking really cool. And then if I pick this up, I've got grid lock turned on here, which means I can just snap it straight back into the middle of this set square, and that is looking pretty Awesome. Okay, let's go back to media there. Yeah, I'm liking that a lot. So there we are. That is the process of making this rather crazy, excessively marked set square and protractor with loads of measuring opportunities. I hope you found that useful, and see you back on the channel.